Well. It seems like the world's most infamous news streamer, Johnny Somali, will have his trial in South Korea for all the Tate he did to be happening on the first hearing on the day 7th of March on the year 2025. And although it's kind of sad to have the date pushed backward when the initial date was supposed to be on December 20th, 2024, it would be a nice Christmas present for many, including myself. Well, there is also many good things for why the date get pushed back. And hello there, how's your day? I'm Ame Gakita. Normally I don't do that long of an intro, but then again, it is about Johnny Somali, and obviously that's the random chat for today's topic. Now, in case anyone are not up to news, it's basically about the most infamous news streamer Johnny Somali, or by his real life name, Ramsey Ismail, where he actually been well known for creating a lot of nuisance or being a public news annoyance in Japan before later on get deported after getting charged and banned from returning to Japan, and then he did it at another country, Israel. And after that, after getting beat up, after getting harassed, then he moved to another target, which is South Korea. And for a few months, he had been kind of like on the radar of many people, where many people just, again, I have to have understanding, is being patient or being polite. But obviously, that will always take a time when he has to do something stupid enough. It's basically kind of like doing something disrespectful to the peace lady, which is technically a statute to insinuate peace that had happened over something that is of a dark ages, which is the World War II. Now, for him to do something that is considered bad and disrespectful to the country, obviously it won't take long for people to start appearing, because like I mentioned in last night's stream, where I love to use this phrase, everyone is like a rubber band. The moment that rubber band reaches to a maximum tension, it is going to snap. So for his situation, a lot of people start attacking Johnny Somali, people start harassing him, to the point he was just acting like a coward, like a little pea, and he just run and hide, even though he was supposed to return away from South Korea. Now, obviously, because of that, South Korea wasn't kind enough to let him leave, so they confiscated his passport and arrested him for a lot of charges. But the main charge that was put on him was the obstruction of business, which was well known and well documented on the internet. Now, having that being said, obviously this charge, it is still the one and the same. So on somewhere in November or December, there was news about his trial to be set in December this year, which amazingly wasn't debunked by him. It was also kind of like interesting, and in a way that saying that the trial was moving way faster than anyone expected. Because the thing is, right, what a lot of people need to understand is that when a trial move very, very fast, like normally it can take months for police investigation to go through, and then it can, for the prosecutor side, it will also take a few months. Normally faster a month or so. So for this to happen, like both end to happen within the month itself, obviously in a way there is a, like too many people say it's a slam dunk case, it's a straightaway forward case. So obviously to Johnny Somali, I think he wanted it because it means that he can have the trial on before Christmas, and then after that trying to get out of the country as soon as possible. And in his mind, it was kind of like maybe he was thinking along the line of that, oh, because he got slapped in the wrist back in Japan, so obviously he just need to pay some fine, say sorry the word, and then go back to his country and say, ha, for you, to middle finger along the line. So the thing is, right, he is thinking of that, and obviously a lot of people on the internet are hoping that he don't do that. Like, it's like everyone want him to get to sent to jail, be a cabbage boy, or do something like hard labor or forced labor, whichever you want to call it at this point of time. But the issue is that on hand, obviously people are going to look carefully at this case, even myself. And what a lot of people didn't know, even during my live stream, that I have to highlight it carefully, is that as long as he is kind of like being kept in a way that he's like not moving around, not able to do live stream, that to me is a moment of peace. At least as long as we don't hear his name on the internet, as long as we don't really like see him doing something stupid on the internet, that's a good moment. And obviously I can't really like, for the first one I said, as long as we don't hear his name, it's a moment of peace. Well, the thing is, right, LegalMindset is really not giving me that moment, because I'm subscribed to him, and sometimes I even see him talking and releasing video or live stream talking about Johnny Somali every single day. Like, please, Andrew, if you're watching this, chill a little bit. Talk about other topic. There are many other topics that you are supposed to be covering. Johnny Somali, I know it is your bread and butter. Please, at the same time, tune it down, for goodness sake. So, at the end of the day, right, is it a good news when there is more and more charges against Johnny Somali? Absolutely yes. But in his video, he also highlighted that for now, the word we'll be using a lot probably, is that he is being charged for the obstruction of business for now. Will be probably by the same prosecutor and the judge for now. So in a way, for now, we can definitely, with the peace of mind, saying that, hey, it is probably that they are going to charge him more, but it's just that to have an official document to kind of like, you know, like the black and white, the surface of every single thing, right, to indicate that, hey, that is basically that for now he is being charged for this. Maybe later on there is like the main event of a wrestling match, and then they just bam everything, single thing out and showcase to everyone that, hey, there's many other charges. And it's kind of like, I think it's a good thing, because like Andrew did kind of like highlight that incident, like petition, it like, to me, the longer it drag out, the longer Johnny Somali have to stay in South Korea, and that he cannot do anything, he cannot even live stream, because it means that if once he live stream, more evidence will be put against him. So the more stupid thing he do, obviously the better, because it just means that all will come to light and that he will put himself in more danger. Now, the only issue is that how do we know like how this case will be, is that obviously there is also people thinking that more crime mean that it will be put against Johnny Somali, and I am understanding of that point. But what a lot of people need to understand, that in the eyes of the law, will that being put forward is a wholly different story. More so ever that the date that was pushed back was not requested by Johnny Somali or by the prosecutor. Both wanted this everything to be end before the end of the year. And the one that is pushing this date to next year was none other than the judge. Yes, I believe that in the eyes of the law is actually considered a good thing, because sometimes when everyone is rushing everything, right, it can lead to a rush decision, because while this thing is kind of like being watched carefully by many people are on a outrage. So obviously in current time, for now, it's obviously that it is not a good thing. More so in recent time on the internet, there's already like a fire happening, which is basically where the black people doing black a day or black redrawing of anime character. So it's kind of like got a lot of Japanese pissed off, and somehow, somewhat Chinese are also pissed off. South Korea also pissed off. But in a way, I kind of understand, because it's kind of like not showing respect to Asia in a way. So when people say that people don't respect black, yeah, I think it's more towards like right now a lot of black on the internet are not showing respect to other country or their culture. So obviously it is kind of like fuming, and more so that of all race that Johnny Somali has to be, is a black. He may claim that he's not black. There will be people claim that he's a different race, but you can't deny his skin color. So in a way, when that actually happened, what I'm afraid of is that people may end up using the sentencing of Johnny Somali in a bad light, in a bad faith, which basically means that if Johnny Somali do get sent to jail, there will be some idiotic black online brain rotten idiots that will use that moment to insinuate that Johnny Somali was sent to jail because that Asia hate black, or people saying that black are being hated along the line. So when that actually happened, I think it's best to like not draw too much, like two conclusion into one. It's best to like, when two different situations, it's best to have two different situations. It's not, once the moment it get blend into one, like in the blender, it is going to have a lot of consequences. It's going to have a lot of bad things. So I kid you not, it will happen one day where people start sympathizing on Johnny Somali, or start thinking that, oh, he's black, we must protect him along the line. He was defended by quite a few, not a lot, but quite a few black people. And when I see some of the comment, it's just basically, oh, you guys hate him because he's black. Even though he was the one who threw the first punch. It's really kind of like sharing a lot of people saying like, hey, black threw the first punch, but they can act as the victim. Weird, right? But that will be a whole new different random chat for a different topic. I don't want to cover in this. But again, it is like, I have to agree on this part that if people start thinking both as one and the same, it's best to like separate one of them to a different or later date to prevent, and hopefully it won't like initiate some sort of race war. And at this point of time, I think it's really good, more so as what many people would say, like maybe there will be more time to investigate into other crime, or for victim to step forward to start talking about, hey, maybe there will be more and more people indicating that there is more than to just the obstruction of business. Because if that's the case, that would be good. But what a lot of people need to understand, that while there may be some people saying that, hey, if there is a lot of different crime, he's going to get jail for life. He can get jail for like 5 years, 10 years at least, and then he'll at least maximum get around 30 years, 50 years, 100 years along the line. Well, the thing is, right, of all the crime he did, obviously, if we are using conservative, and the funny thing is, right, there is two types of like sentencing in all the law, is that it depends on the judge whether will they want to go with a concurrent sentencing, which is all the crime that after sentencing and he's being found guilty of, that if all the crime indicating like some 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, he'll have to serve the maximum years, which is 10 years. But there is also another moment where there is called consecutive sentencing, which is basically that once he's got sentenced for the first sentencing, he will have to serve a second one, and then a third one, and then a fifth one, and then subsequently, which I always call it accumulative, which is a much better word. But again, it's kind of like at the end of the day, we do not know what kind of sentencing will be, and only by that sentencing itself that we'll know. But what people need to understand, that the day itself does not mean that you will be sentenced on the day itself. It's not like those simple trial that is like a one-day hearing. This seems to be indicating to us like it may be leading to further charges or maybe further crime, and that if that is the case, we won't be surprised to even hear called second hearing, third hearing, or the final sentencing. So if this was like a case on the day itself, obviously we'll get to know what happened next. But if they drag, like if the judge decided to drag it later, maybe he in his mind was thinking that if there is more charges, throw more at him, or maybe like show more cases, like even though it's a slam dunk case. So I think it's really best to kind of like have everything go at one shot, so that at least in the eyes of the law, the judge don't go with, they say, hey, like he have to make a decision of whether will it be a concurrent or a consecutive. So this is really something that a lot of people need to look out for and be careful on, because just because he get a lot of sentencing doesn't mean he would get like everything in one shot. If the maximum indicate that it's 10 years, he will serve 10 years. If the maximum say 5 years, 5 years. If everything say that he must be fine, He's just gonna get fined once only, alright? Whether we all like it or not. Now, even if he do end up getting in prison, another thing a lot of people need to understand is that there is something called good behavior. So what good behavior means is basically under, like, depending on how you look at it, good behavior parole, good behavior law, good behavior act. There is a lot of term for it, but basically, like I mentioned, it's got good behavior, where if he actually serve a minimum sentence or to a maximum of a year for a life sentence, then there is something that if he show good behavior, do everything in good faith, he can get an early dismissal, an early release, and that in itself can mean a lot. So let's say, for example, if he get jail for 10 years, if for a third of the sentencing, let's say on the 4th year, he got good behavior, he can get early release. And by then, if he hold a grudge for the world, he will do the same thing again. But again, it's hard to know. It is something that will happen in the future. So at the end of the day, it's really something that a lot of people need to be very careful on. It's something that a lot of people need to look out for. And we do not know what kind of sentencing will be until the sentencing itself. And whether is it like more and more crime will be put into one, we do not know. As what Andrew's son say from LegalMindset, for now, it is only one charge case, which is basically the obstruction of business. So at the end of the day, we'll have to give it a wait and see, and at least from now till March 7, 2025, it's gonna be a short moment of peace that we won't even hear from Johnny Somali, and hopefully we will get to know better news by then. Well, there is no early Christmas present. At least they is still considered good news to know. And I can do other topic for now. But at the end of the day, that's still my speculative thought. It's just a random chat. Whether you have your own point of view, whether you agree that the delay is good or not, whether you disagree with the pushing back of the trial date, write in the comment section. We can discuss it further. If not, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more random chat where I talk about stuff that sometimes makes sense, doesn't make sense, or random at a time. But the one thing I hope is not random for you guys is have a nice day or night.